Welcome back to the Wine and Spirits podcast. Tonight we'll discuss
Haunted Souls.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to a dear friend of mine who not only shares my passion for the paranormal, but also has an incredible talent for creating the most frightening and spine-chilling costumes and special effects makeup you've ever seen. For as long as I've known her, she's been obsessed with all things spooky and supernatural, and her creativity and dedication to bringing these eerie creatures to life is truly unmatched. Whether it's a ghoulish ghost, a demonic possession, or a classic monster from the silver screen, her attention to detail and commitment to authenticity is truly awe-inspiring. So without further ado, I invite you to join us on this journey into the world of possession, where we'll explore the depths of haunted souls and the stories behind them. Please welcome my friend and fellow paranormal enthusiast, the master of creepy costumes and special makeup effects, to our video podcast, Samra!
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Who's your friend?
This is a little friend that tagged along just for a little bit. He has to go soon, but his name is...
Damon, he's my little demon friend.
But yeah, he wanted to stop by and say hello to everybody.
Hi, Damon.
Hello.
Where's he going?
He's got to go back to hell.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
He can only come up just for a short time.
Sounds good. So we are going to start off, as usual, with the wines. This first one that we have is called the Drunken Diablo, gift from Samrith. Sam. I'm going to read the instructions actually first. It's a bloody sangria, and this nice mix, you take 700 milliliters of red wine, put it in here, let it infuse for 48 hours, then you strain it into a large pitcher, serve over crushed ice and some sparkling water for fizz, and you got yourself a bloody sangria. So
Yeah.
we'll be
It
right back.
reminded me of Myra, so I just wanted to give her a little, like, it's in a devil glass. I thought it was really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Just so you guys can
Creepy.
kind of see it.
Kind of looks like Casper.
It does. Okay, I'm going to pour this, so we'll be right back. So we are back. Make sure you guys stay tuned, because after we do some tastings, we're going to talk about our stories of real-life possessions.
Ooh,
So here we go. Let's try this bloody sangria.
let's see it.
It's still sweet, but it doesn't taste as sweet now that we added that in. But yeah, it's...
It's still pretty sweet.
Woo!
I feel like there's kind of a tang at the end that I don't know if I'm in love with, but I could drink this glass.
Yeah, I might finish this off. It's not bad, but it's not, because I'm not a sweet wine drinker. I don't know if I would drink this on a regular basis, but
I mean, on a hot day, I could probably finish this.
good. So out of a 5, what would you rate it?
Maybe a 2.5.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say about probably a 2.5 or a 3, because
It's not the best sangria I've ever had. It doesn't really have that fruitiness.
Yeah.
It kind of tastes a little generic.
and I don't know if it's because I put too much of the fizz. I did do some clarity, black cherry clarity, guys. So maybe I just put too much in there, but yeah, it's gonna be probably about a 3 for me. So moving on, I have some cheeses here. This one is gonna be a Caribbean blazer.
You like those hot cheeses.
I know, I do. This one is gonna be a white Stilton with cranberry.
Okay.
And this is a creamy dill that's aged over 60 days.
Oh, okay.
Which one would you like to try first?
Let's try the dill first. Then we'll go to the hot.
I'm like, I don't know which one you want to do first. I'll let you grab it.
Okay.
Do you want to, I don't know if you want to
Sure.
just eat it or if you want a cracker.
You know what? I'll eat it and then I'll try a cracker.
What do you think?
I actually like it.
Ooh, that's good. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure. I saw all that seasoning on top, and I'm like,
I like it. There's
Yeah.
a lot of that dill taste kind of comes towards the end.
I taste it. I would eat that again.
Does the grape bring it out?
It reminds me of dill pickle chips.
And if you like dill, it's a good one to go with.
I'm gonna try the cranberry one next. That one looks like it's like a cream cheese.
Yeah. Let's see here. Looks like a spread.
I like the initial taste, don't like the aftertaste. Aftertaste has
I haven't gotten to the aftertaste yet.
it's like it gives me like a weird like brie aftertaste.
You don't like brie, do you?
I don't.
See, I like brie.
Yeah,
I like this
There's
one.
a lot of people that like brie, and I'm just like, I'm not a huge brie person. I don't like that aftertaste. I like the initial taste with brie. I just don't like the aftertaste.
I feel like it tastes kind of like a cream cheese with like that
It does
craisins in it.
Yeah,
But I like the brie, so there's that
it does
good
taste
in
like
the
cream
back.
cheese.
Yeah.
So this wine is a Albino Armani Pinot Grigio. Ooh.
The white. I like
Yep.
Pinot Grigio, so I'm sure Myra picked this up.
Yes, I
On
did,
my
especially
behalf.
for you.
Thank you.
Do you want to guess the pricing?
Oh, I get to guess the pricing?
Yeah.
Where's it from?
Total Wine.
I'm going to go with $16.99.
Ooh, let's see if it tastes like $16.99. It's
I wanna just check
actually, I'll tell you after we taste it.
All right.
Cheers. Oh,
I like it.
I actually like that. And I'm not like a huge dry wine person. Usually it tastes more of like a Riesling to me. Like it
Does
doesn't
it taste $16.99?
I think it tastes $16.99, but it's actually $9.99.
Yay, good bargain.
I like that.
Nice.
I'll be drinking both of them, all of it. Let's see, rating on that, what would you rate that out of 5?
Out of 5. I actually really like it. I would probably give it at least a 4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a 4 for me. I would drink it again, and I would buy it again.
I would definitely buy this wine. I like it a lot.
I like it.
Try the
Move
spicy
on.
one.
Here we go. See if it is.
Are you ready?
See if it even is spicy. I don't know. Is it?
No, it's kind of bitter though. It has a spicy kick in the end.
Oh, I can taste it, the spiciness. But ooh. It's okay. It tastes like I'm just eating hot sauce.
It tastes like
Oof.
little bits of pepper
Yeah.
and like a sharp cheddar.
Oof.
It's fine. I'd eat it. I could finish it. But you don't like it?
No, I don't like that pepperiness that's like in my throat. There's and I'm gonna have to get it for you to try it. We tried on one of our episodes as a habanero
That
tequila
really
or
spicy
whatever.
one? Yeah, I'd like to try that one.
That one was pretty good. Gotta get the pepperiness.
It's not that bad, Myra.
I know, me and my I like spicy cheeses, but it's just like it gets stuck.
Maybe you don't chew it enough.
I know, it could be.
Myra, since you have invited me here today and talking about possession, I have a couple gifts for you.
Ooh, what?
Yeah, okay.
do you
So
have?
the first gift I have for you is for the Wine and Spirits podcast.
What is this? Oh, that's awesome! I
I
love
thought
it.
you can use one.
Yes.
Isn't that cute? I bought one for myself
love this
too. Just so you know.
diffuser. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a little
a
bat,
bat.
one, and it pours out of its mouth. So especially if you have a red, it looks like
Oh my
blood.
god, it's so cute.
Yeah, super cute.
I love it.
And then the second gift I have for you
That's awesome.
is, being that we're talking about possession and we don't want you guys to be possessed, I brought you the holiest of all holy waters from the Vatican
Oh wow, that's
when
cool.
I was there last year.
And it's tiny.
It's tiny. It's not
And
blessed
it
by
says-
the
and
Pope
it
or
says-
anything.
Roma.
Roma. Yeah, but I'm sure it was bought from like that St. Michael's Square. So I'm sure the Pope kind of waved his wand over it at some point.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
I love
I
it.
got some holy water.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our house probably really needs it.
Yeah, maybe you could dilute it and just spray some
just
corners.
in the corners.
Get those dark ones.
Mainly in Gio's room. Yes. I still feel bad. We put him in the haunted room. But we had no choice. Poor baby.
I mean, now the loft is haunted, so.
I know. I mean, it's moving around. So today we're going to get into our stories, and the story we're starting with first is the real life possession of Annalisa Michel.
Mikkel. Yep.
So if you've ever seen the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose, that's what that movie is based off of. It is about a German woman who believed that she was possessed with demons, right?
Yes.
How many days was it that they tried to exorcise her?
9 months.
Yes. 9 months that they
Yep.
tried to exorcise her. Obviously, it ended in her demise. She died from her afflictions, so
yeah.
dehydration,
Starvation.
just by the end of it, she just didn't even look recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
So that was unfortunate. And they did a whole documentary. They did a whole movie about it. And if you've seen the movie, one of the scenes, and I don't know if this actually happened in real life, but one of the scenes creeped me out because she was actually in the church trying to touch one of the religious objects, and it was kind of like pulling her back. That stuff always creeps me out because religious objects are supposed to help with that, and it didn't. What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts about it, that freaks me out too. Like, I don't know how I feel about possession. A lot of the bigger cases, like Annalisa's, hers is, was known for epileptic seizures.
Yep.
She was known to have
I know.
epilepsy. Yeah, so she was known to have some issues. She
Yeah.
also came from a very strong religious background. So, with that, they did try to get her some help, but in the end, when the whole family started believing also that the problem was possession,
Yep.
and she was possessed, it was going on for a couple years before they actually started her exorcism. So I believe that when
Right.
everyone is telling you such, coming from that type of beliefs at times, not everyone, of course, but then you really could strongly believe that that's what the problem is, and
Yeah.
not something else.
Yeah, and I think it was difficult because they kind of alluded to it in the movie too, that they didn't really believe that it was possession at first, that she was just, it was just her seizures and stuff like that. And they even showed that in the movie too, like those scenes where she was like arched backwards. I'm sorry, but if I was the boyfriend and I woke up and I looked over the bed and I saw that, I'd be like, I'm out.
I'm out. I'm
But yeah.
getting the heck out of there.
So, I mean, it's just creepy. It's hard because, not a lot of people believe in possessions anymore. And it's really, really hard to even get it sanctioned by the Vatican to be able to get it approved. You have to have so much evidence before you can even do an exorcism. And didn't they do it secretly?
They did a mini one previous to the actual one that was, given permission for by the church. And the thing that did it was apparently she had slapped the priest that came to see her. And that was kind of their like, oh, you don't do that. So
Right.
here's where we're going to send some guys in. And they had 3 priests come and do the exorcisms. And it apparently lasted for like 9 months. Obviously, she didn't really eat. I know that she had I think broken her kneecaps from trying to bow down and pray so much.
Yep.
And she was just bony, and I think she was maybe 120 pounds when this all started, and by the time she was 70?
Yeah.
Something crazy. If you guys get a chance, look at the photos. It's terrible, but
Yeah. I was looking at that. And then I saw, and I don't know if it was kind of like a reenactment of what was going on, but I don't know if you saw those on YouTube. It was showing a video of a girl who they were trying to exorcise and stuff like that. And I'm like, is that the real Annalise? Because she didn't look like the pictures of when she was starting to get
malnourished.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, and that's another thing. It's hard to tell the real stuff from the fake. You're like, is this the real video of it, or was it just on audio? So
I don't know about an actual video, but I do know there is audio.
Yep.
of it, and that's what gets me too. Is like when you hear someone just, like
speaking in like dual tone and the
Yeah.
growling and all that stuff.
like I guess we could do that, but it's keeping up with it for 9 months is a lot.
Yeah, I don't think she would purposely starve herself. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was something like not letting her.
Yeah, and I mean, she had no appetite. She said she wanted to eat but couldn't.
Yeah.
Like the whole trying to go in the church was a big deal. Like,
Right.
because she used to go all the time. Her family went every Sunday. They were very devout. But I don't know. The other thing that gets me about possessions of most types that you hear about, especially the big ones, is there always seem to be possessed by some.
Mega demon.
It could be Satan.
Always.
It's all these people that you would name off, but it's like, but you never get the low level demons, like,
Right.
is it because it's not public knowledge? Because I think she was, and like evil people, like she said she was possessed by, Lucifer,
Rip.
Judas, Cain,
Yep.
Nero, Hitler,
Yeah.
all these people.
Because there was like 6 different ones,
There
right?
were 6 months, and then there was some like priest that that was well known in her town. She was from Bavaria, and
okay.
there was a priest from several years back that had a bad reputation, and he apparently like killed some people and did some terrible things. So he was excommunicated. So
Yep.
he was one of the people, but it makes sense because that was a very evil man to her, and so were all the people she was possessed with.
Right.
And there was another one, but there was no name for that last one.
Yeah.
So, it's always these big people,
Right.
and
That's
it's like
interesting.
you're not going to sit there and be like, even Beelzebub, like, you're not going to sit there and like throw out his name, that's kind of one of the things I have an issue with when people do get possessed, they're just possessed by the top guns of the evil industry.
And it's weird to me, like it seems to be, well, not always, but it seems to be people who are like really religious. Like you have to ask yourself, like, why does that happen? If someone is devout and, they're practicing every day and they're going to church every day, like it's just weird that like, and I don't want to get into the whole religion topic because I know we could go like,
We can go for a while.
For a while on that, but it's just weird to me that, if you are strong in your faith, why that would happen to you, like for that long and like no reprieve. Like I don't know. It's weird to me, and it also creeps me out because
Yep.
like religious artifacts are supposed to protect you, supposed to help you, supposed to keep you safe, and to see all that in that movie and knowing her faith. And that still happened to her, and she ended up dying from it.
And she had that stuff in her home already.
Right.
She had that stuff in her home. She believed in it. And the other thing, too, is it's like, I don't know, obviously this is true, but I feel like evil also wants to conquer those who have the most faith.
Right.
So there is that. So there's like a extra, I don't know, bonus if you can get
yeah.
that person. You think that it's the people who are weak or that are most vulnerable, which to me makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Because they're the desperate ones who
are more susceptible and more willing to like sell their soul or,
Yep.
to get stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, but yes, if you haven't seen the movie, watch the movie. I mean, it doesn't obviously tell you all the details. If you want to watch the documentary, there's one on YouTube. It's a kind of shortened version of it. But yeah, check it out. So the next one we're going to talk about is actually The Exorcist, the most famous one. Ooh. And we're talking about that one too because they're doing a reboot of it. April 15th, I think, is when it's coming out.
I haven't seen anything about it.
It's a remake of it. They're supposed to have the original mom.
Okay.
She's coming back in it. I don't know if Linda Blair is coming back or making a cameo, but I know they're casting all new characters. I was trying to look for like a little, so we could watch it, a little trailer of it, but I couldn't find it. So, but yes, so if you didn't know, in the movie, The Exorcist was about Reagan, who, plays with the Ouija board and contacts a demon, doesn't know it's a demon, Mr. Howdy, and becomes possessed by him. So the real story is actually of Ronald Doe, which I don't remember where he's from.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yep.
So the real story is about Ronald Doe, and did you want to talk about it?
Sure. Doe obviously was the last name given to this kid. He was, only child, also from a pretty devout Lutheran family.
Yep.
So he was playing with a Ouija board. His aunt had given it to him, and they were playing together. His aunt's spiritualist. I'm the spiritualist aunt too. So, yep. So they were playing with the Ouija board, and then sometime later, his aunt, I think she passed away in a few months, and then he started hearing random things in his house. The family also felt like it was the aunt coming back to like visit. So like hearing the sink drip. It's very small things. Then hearing scratching like underneath his bed, but not like it's like inside underneath. That freaks me out.
Yes.
Like the scratching noise. I don't like that at all. And then it escalated from there, from his bed being picked up. So those are the things that blow my mind. It's like that type of stuff, not just I'm possessed and I'm growling and I'm, swearing and I'm not myself. Again, that kid also had seizures. So it's kind of a big case, but I don't know. I have tried to go see this house a couple times when I was in St. Louis, but I don't know exactly where it is, and I don't think it's in the best neighborhood.
Oh, no.
So I haven't...
They keep it under wraps?
I've looked at the address like twice, and every time, because I'm usually in St. Louis like once a year for the Halloween show,
Yep.
I do try to like go stop by, but I haven't really found it, and maybe I should just try harder.
I know. I'm wondering about that because, I mean, the next story we're talking about, the house in that one, they had to, like, change the address and stuff. But we'll talk about that. But, The Exorcist just creeps me out. I mean, I feel like that movie, too, gave the whole stigma to Ouija boards being negative. And, don't play, don't play it alone because you can get possessed and all that stuff. But yeah, that one, how long was it for his exorcism?
I think his was just a few months.
Because I think they brought him out of the home and brought him to
a hospital.
A hospital, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I think his was a few months. And there was also a time where supposedly, again, I think he was, possessed by the devil. And supposedly the devil had left him at one point, left his body when they were giving him an exorcism at his house. And then sometime later, a couple weeks maybe, it came back in. Because it was kind of like...
Laying low.
To
make it seem like it was gone so that they would stop and then...
Yeah, and they left and, they...
Came back full force.
Yeah. So with him, it's the same thing, just the growling, the swearing, and it could just be teenage angst. Because both of these people, Annalise was like college student.
Yeah.
And then he was, I think, 14.
Yeah, I think
15,
he was.
Something like that. So it's, I don't know. The bed scratching and all these, the family witnessing these things happening. And again, family was behind, it's a possession and nothing else. I'm not that like scientific. I'm a huge believer in many things. But when it comes to someone being possessed by maybe certain demons or the devil, that kind of, maybe if you'd scare me more if it was just some random like dead person coming back to possess you. Right. Like the Enfield poltergeist haunting.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Okay, that's one that Ed and Lorraine Warren actually, they actually did go stop by and like try to like knock on their door to like offer help, but they were actually turned away. But they made a whole Conjuring 2 about it, that they were involved.
So that's based
and
off of.
that young girl, when she was like talking in that creepy old man's voice, and like that one gets me. Yeah. Because a young girl didn't know that this old man had died in the house they lived in the chair that was still there because they got the house furnished. Right. Single mom, living with like 5 girls. Yeah. And then they also, if you hear the recording on that, that's really freaky.
I'm going to have to listen to that.
You should. And apparently they told her to like put water in her mouth, and she was still saying these voices with water in her mouth, and then she'd spit it out.
No. Thank you.
The weird catch, though, was apparently the spirit that was possessing her wouldn't talk unless they turned around.
Oh, that seems fishy.
Yeah. But if you hear the recording, I don't know how this voice came from a little girl. I don't. It sounds like a crabby old man that tells you to get out of his lawn, but he wants you out of his house. It's bad.
I always think to myself, like, because you watch these movies and you're like, what? I'd be like, I'd leave that person, blah, 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 or kick them out, or bye, they'd be out of my house. But then I think about Gio, I'm like, God, how would I handle that if that happened to him? I don't even know.
I think you'd have to stay and fight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay and face it. It's like your child, and
That would creep me out
Yep.
if I heard that coming out of his mouth, like a deeper voice or some other voice. Mm-hmm.
but you're almost like, is it you?
Yep, you're poking.
Get those keywords out. Remember?
Yeah, I feel like, and that's what I was talking to. And I'm always leery of talking about it in here, but like I told them we should do something that's like keyword stuff that only we know. Because I don't know if you watched or remember, there was a TikTok video that we watched, and I kind of named it the Mimic 2. And it was a father who had seen his mom and his son sitting on the bed, and it looked like them, but she was actually in her bedroom. Stuff like that creeps me out, because if that happened to me and I saw that, well, one, I'd have to get you out of the house, but I'd be curious, and I would want to go back in. But then when he said he heard the person get up and like walk and saw that they weren't on the camera,
Nope.
whoo!
Get your holy water.
I'm just
keep that close.
Compels you. Yeah, that creeps me out. But I kind of liked how The Conjuring, Annabelle, and I think Insidious kind of all tied into that same theme. I thought that was nice. But yeah, now they have on Netflix something based off of Ed and Lorraine's theory, their 28-day theory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
It's
watched
called
that.
28 Days Haunted. I haven't finished it yet, but I thought that was cool experience, isolating them. And I always wanted to try that on an investigation. So, and we were talking about possibly doing that.
Yeah, I actually really liked that series as well, and I liked the other two, but there was the one demonologist guy that kind of drove me nuts.
Which one is that?
It's the gentleman. I think they have at least a guy and a girl, and it was just the guy and the girl in like that weird. It was like a like almost store or something.
Oh yeah, or the guy that got possessed, that ended up getting possessed. Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, I mean, I get his demeanor changing and stuff, and yes, sometimes when the energy is strong, and I say energy because it isn't always a spirit; it could just be residual stuff. But sometimes when it's strong, it can affect you. But he was
a little much. One of the things he did was like apparently the spirit or whatever had I think kind of touched the girl, or did, and she was really freaking out, and he did the whole like, the power of Christ compels you kind of thing. Yeah. And then he was also like, if you want to get to her, you got to go through me. And I'm like, oh my God, this man, like, oh yes. And then of course, what do you know? The next couple of days, he just happens to be crabby and just doesn't want to investigate.
Yeah.
He just seems a little
and he's sleeping
possessed.
all the time. Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe he was sick of her. For
yeah,
one.
it could be.
And maybe he had a headache.
Because they do it over 28 days, but they don't show all of it, and they cut stuff out. And you have to imagine being isolated with that same person. I don't think they had their cell phones or anything. Like
Nope.
they couldn't have that. They didn't know where they were going, and you're stuck with that person for that long. And, it's kind of like a relationship. It's all like, stars and sparkles in the beginning, but then,
like we're going to get this thing, and then
halfway through, you're just like, oh, shut
because
up.
I would be annoyed with that guy.
Yeah.
I would be annoyed with him. I would not bear 28 days with him either.
I don't know if I would be able to either. And I don't know if they can, like, tap out or anything, or if they force them to stay there.
There was, of course, some close calls with some of the people wanting to tap out.
Okay.
But it was mostly the like the empaths, like the people who are more sensitive. It was usually them, because they were feeling so, it was just too much for them.
Yeah.
And there was one girl that wanted to quit, which I thought this was great. And then the other two guys were like, well, why do you want to quit? Because you're the one that's supposed to be connected.
Right.
So they, and she was like upset with them for trying to have her ask, like try to like get her, so I was like, you did sign up for this. I'm not saying that you should go so far as to like hurt yourself, or she was scared.
And I get being scared, because I mean that's kind of what I am feeling like when you're in an environment, you're in the dark. It's kind of like collective mass hysteria. Like everyone is like, oh my God, that's freaky. Did you hear that? No, I didn't hear anything. Oh no, yeah, I heard that. Kind of just like agreeing. And I get being scared. You're gonna be scared. But I think for me to quit, I'd have to be like hurt, like shoved down some stairs or something like that, or I wake up and there's a handprint on my arm.
If you push me, I'm probably out.
Yeah, and if I wake up and there's like a handprint on my arm, then I'm probably out too, because I'm just like, stuff like that scares me. Feelings, yeah, and like if you see stuff, because I've had times where I've seen like an entity, and the weird thing is usually you see stuff out of your peripheral, and I have that happen all the time, especially here. But this time I had, on one of the investigations, I actually turned and looked, and she was like still standing there. And that freaked me out. And this was before I had been doing a lot of investigation. This was like in the beginning. So you hear me on the recording, and that sounds so stupid. I'm like, oh my God, we can't get out of here. They're blocking both entrances. Oh my God, what's he doing? And then you hear me like freaked out, because here we have this girl that's floating there, and she's blocking the only way out of the basement. And then there's this guy that's standing and facing Casper and like yelling and doing all this creepy looking stuff. And he's just black and huge. And I don't know what he was saying, but he looked angry. And all I felt was like, I needed to get out of here.
Kind of like that silent yelling face.
Yeah, like it was like, get out of here. And I don't know if he was yelling like he wanted us out, or if he was yelling like, why can't you hear me? But it was creepy because I couldn't see any facial features. It was just all black, and like Casper could feel him there, but he couldn't see anything. So I'm like, oh, get me out of this basement. But yeah, that's the first time that I actually wanted to like leave. But yeah, it's creepy.
Nope.
So I don't know what I would actually do if I encountered someone who was actually possessed. And like that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why the Vatican makes you jump through all these hoops to prove that it's actual possession, because so many people sometimes fake it, and that's what ruins it for the real ones that are people who are actually possessed. So yeah, it's
possession?
creepy. So I know we should get a shirt that says that.
The filming of The Exorcist.
Oh,
so all the things that happened with that, like the deaths, there was plane crashes. There was a decapitation.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there was a decapitation in one of the workers had an accident. I think obviously a couple people died like shortly right after that movie. The injury, like when the mom got pulled back. And it hurt her. Like that scream was real. Like that pain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, 100%. And I know that Linda Blair has back issues because of that scene with her flipping back and forth on the bed.
Is that really her? Like, what did they do?
That was her. It was a mechanism and
that pulled her back and forth?
No, that pulled her back and forth in the bed, but the mom had a scene where she was like pushed like by an unseen force. That was a real scream because she had back injuries after that.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I believe there was a plane crash. It's so crazy. So I kind of wonder if there's anything that's going to happen in like after to the people that are filming this one.
This new one? I know. I keep thinking about that. And I'm just like, because I didn't even know. I mean, I heard about the accidents, but I didn't know that she actually got injured on set and that was a real scream. Yep. So now I'm going to want to go back and watch the movie so I can like listen and then know, oh my gosh.
And they had the, what else was it that was really scary? There were so many crazy things that happened on that set that scares me a lot. Like
that's
a
creepy.
lot.
So moving on from Reagan, we're going to move on to the Amityville horror.
Amityville horror.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I'm always fumbling over my words, as you've heard in past episodes. And no, I've only had a couple sips, so it's not that yet. But yeah, with that one, it's kind of hit or miss with it. Some people really believe that it happened. Some people think that it didn't happen. I mean, they had to change it was Ocean Drive, was it? They had to change their address because so many tourists and stuff were
I would
flocking
jump on
to the
that
house.
bandwagon and just be like, come through my house, everybody. Here's $200 a pop.
And the interesting thing is the house that they portray in the movie isn't even what the real house looks like.
Not anymore. It was remodeled.
Oh, did they?
They remodeled the windows. You know how the windows look like eyes? So they remodeled it on purpose.
So that people couldn't identify it.
Yeah, so that house back in the 70s, 80s, it did look like that. I think they changed it in the 90s.
So how the story goes, it started off actually with
DeFeo.
DeFeo.
Isn't it Robert DeFeo?
See,
I think
there you go.
I think it's Robert DeFeo.
Robert, can't remember. I know it was DeFeo, and I said
It is
Defoe.
DeFeo,
I always say
yeah.
Defoe. DeFeo, so one night he just goes crazy, apparently at 3:15 a.m., and kills his entire family and says that he heard voices that made him do it. A year later, that's when the Letts family comes in, and same thing happens with them.
Well, they weren't killed, but
they didn't all die. They actually...
They only lasted 28 days in a house that they
Right.
had just bought, that they put all their money into. Obviously, they got the house at a bargain.
Right.
Because of the murders previous to that.
And they knew about the murders.
They did know about the murders. But, I mean, dang, it seems like a nice property. I mean...
Oh, it looked very nice.
I mean, for the right price of the housing market today, I might give it a chance.
Do you know, are they letting people, or is there a family living in there right now?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously you
They're
can't.
not having visitors, even though they should. It's like when people own these haunted houses and you know it's a tourist place. You can't complain if people drive by.
Right.
Or stand outside and take
Try to
pictures of your house.
monetize that.
I
mean,
would.
That's what I would do.
You know, I mean, what's it going to hurt? Let it be on the walking ghost tour.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, that was an interesting one too, where, what was it? It was the same time, right? That he woke up and he ended up.
Yep.
They kind of dramatized it in the movie, obviously, but yeah, I kind of like the Ryan Reynolds version of it.
Oh, of course. There's a lot of shirtless Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Apparently he was always hot, but the house was always really cold. So that's why he was always chopping wood shirtless.
Yep.
So
I was like,
that didn't hurt.
I'm like, rewind.
Yep. The thing that would probably bother me most is apparently there were a lot of flies.
Yeah.
That would show up in their house and they could not get rid of them. There was always flies. And even as it got colder, flies just didn't go away.
Yep. And they wasn't there, and I know it was in the movie, but I think it was also in the book that, or the interview, that he said that the priest came in, there was like two different versions of it, where one, he just got, shoved back, and then the other one where he just got swarmed with flies. Yeah. So that's what creeps me out. It's like these religious figures coming in, and they're supposed to be more powerful, and they're getting overpowered by whatever is there.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm not coming back, or...
Right.
I mean, especially if you ask for that type of help, and they're like, they just barely get in the door, and they sprinkle some holy water, and then they run. I mean, maybe that's a sign to run, too. See, and the thing that gets me about that house is you don't want to sink your life savings into buying a new home. You want to make a home out of your new home.
Right.
And you don't expect to stay for 28 days.
Right.
Like, what do you get out of that? Because the story didn't, as far as I know, the story didn't come out till much after. The book didn't come out too much after.
Right.
I believe they do make money from some interviews and things like that. And I think there were some rumors that some of them has said, it was kind of made up. Or, so there is a lot of that, but I don't know.
I don't know. And that's a thing where, like, it kind of plays into if it didn't happen to you, no one's going to believe it. And because sometimes it's so unbelievable. It's the same thing when you see, like, someone takes a picture of a ghost and they're like, no, this is real. But someone's like, no, they photoshopped it, or they did this or that. I feel like if a family only lasts 28 days, they leave all their belongings.
Yep.
That's something truly
in the middle
horrifying.
of the night.
Right.
They, like, hauled ass. I don't want to wake up my kids and throw them in the car in the middle of the night with nothing.
Right.
I don't know. That one really gets me. And I just feel like, also, mind you, this was like back in like, the 70s? So it wasn't like there is the internet and a bunch of TV. I'm not going to like sign up for it to go on TV tomorrow. And all of a sudden I left my house last week.
Right.
These are things that the rumor mill has to get going, I'm assuming.
Right.
And then it has to come to light in we weren't expecting to write a book and have it be a bestseller because of a story you might have made up.
Right.
So to last 28 days, it'd be one thing if they were living there for a year, or more. But that's a really short time to uproot your life.
Especially when you invested all that money. And, it's the same thing as like back then, even today, like sometimes people just don't believe you. They think you're crazy. So sometimes people will just stay silent and then, until you can open up about it. And then everyone's like, oh, that's not real. But like, it's real to the person it happened to. But yes. So those are our possession stories, but we also have one special personal possession story. My coworker actually had a dream about possession. And I don't know if I told you this, but it was really interesting because I hadn't told her what we were going to do for an episode. Mm-hmm. And she starts telling the story and I'm like, wait, stop. And I'm like, let me record it.
Oh.
And she's like, okay. She's like, I'll tell you my story. I'm like, okay, so this is the recording. So we'll listen to it now.
I started off as first person, and it was in kind of like a dungeony looking house, really dark and stuff, but I was caring for this boy, and out of nowhere, normal boy, probably aged 5 maybe, probably about the age of my youngest, and he, fair skin, light colored eyes, and short haircut, just to give a picture. All of a sudden, he was like hit by something, not hard, but just a tap hit, and he flies back and comes forward, and his eyes are black, and you can tell the possession within that boy. And I, as this first person, am the caretaker of this boy, not my own child, but instantly it's like I knew the situation, and so I instantly was like, I'm going to be in trouble if I don't, like, how am I trying to explain it, the mothering and nurturing to this possessed child. And then just random things like happened, like that, your day-to-day type stuff, and he kept transitioning from possession to normal, and it was just freaky. And it's
weird.
And at one point it's like he was his normal bright blue-eyed self, and I'm like thinking, hey, it's going to happen, and then it does. But at that point I was watching from like the outside, third person, like watching the scene happen. It was just bizarre, but I woke up all night long, multiple times, going back into the same dream.
Weird.
And the setting kept changing, but the characters didn't.
I wonder what that means.
Right? So at one point too, there was a situation, we were in this large room in like a old stone type building. Like I'm picturing, not like castle-y, but maybe stone country.
Like a cottage.
Very old, high ceilings, but there was this old 20 to 30-year-old person, blonde curly hair, Heath Ledger looking, which was very, very nice to see. But then there was the other two women, which one of them could have been me, because at this point I was watching. And watching this boy go from his normal blue-eyed self, throwing himself back, going forward into the pitch black eyes, and all of a sudden this tree just like hitting the people, and that I just, it was bizarre. It was weird, but I woke up with that feeling. The weirdest feeling though was like, I felt like, besides waking up and having that strange feeling, which one of my children is this going through? Do you know what I'm saying? I woke up with that feeling, but throughout the dream I was like holding this child, and in my dream I'm like, as long as I'm providing the nurture to this child, like the love that others aren't, because he was like not lashing out to others in the dream, but not physically, but you could see like you know what I mean by that? Okay, I'm safe, but no one else is.
Right.
And having that feeling, that was weird.
I just thought it was weird because, one, the scene she kept revisiting the dream, like she kept, every time she went back to sleep. But then I got creeped out because she was like, the boy was like 4 to 5 years old, and I was like thinking about Gio. I'm like, oh, what does this mean? But I don't know. What do you think? I mean, that's just weird to me.
It's very creepy. It reminds me of the Black-Eyed Children. a lot, and it's like, especially like the head thrown back and then the looking forward, and then it makes me think, should I wear my black contacts today?
I was just thinking about that.
And I was like, it is a freaky look. Like, people don't want to look at you when your eyes are all black.
Right.
It's crazy. I don't know. I get that she can kind of relate it to maybe like she kept talking about nurturing, and maybe it is something that her kids might be going through or that she doesn't know. But mother's intuition, maybe they're having a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about
like,
that.
or there's something else going on. I don't know. Obviously, we're on a paranormal podcast. I'm just, speculating and putting it out there. But to have just any dream bother you like that is that, I think that's the thing. It bothered her enough that she needed to tell somebody about it.
Yep.
I have plenty of nightmares, but I don't need to tell everyone about it all the time. But
right.
when there's that one that sticks with you.
Mm-hmm. Like that's the nightmare that I had with the lady, the weird lady. Because you have bad dreams all the time, but I don't. It's none that makes me like scared. And it sounded like she was scared about it. I don't know if maybe it was something like in her subconscious saying you need to be more nurturing to your kids, or if it was something like you said, like one of the kids was having a really bad dream and maybe she was feeling that. But I think it's weird to wake up.
How old are her kids, do you know?
I think one is 5 and the other 2, I don't know. I forget. One I think is 11, and then I don't remember how old her oldest is. She's got 3 boys.
Okay.
But like I think
give or take the tweens till like about 5.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe something was going on. But I think that's only happened to me once, where I've woken up and then I went back to sleep and I ended up in the same dream. But I've never done it like multiple times like that with it being the same characters. And she went, and I wonder what that means. Like, she went from first person view to now she's looking on the outside. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe you're astral projecting.
Maybe, because I feel like sometimes when people have like a near-death experience, they were there and then now they're watching everything happen.
Right.
Yeah. So it could be. I don't know. That's
creepy.
Creepy.
It's creepy. Have you had any dreams like that where you woke up and then you went back to sleep and then you're in the same dream?
Yeah, a few, but they're not like,
right.
I don't know. It's just like the regular dreams and no nightmares or anything that I know of.
I've had some dreams where they were super terrifying and you think you're going to remember them when you wake up and then you don't. And you're like, I know I was scared about something, but I don't remember what it was about.
Yeah, or like the Hat Man dreams or like the shadow figure dreams. Like those are dreams that I tend to remember. Like,
and did you have a top hat dream?
A long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago I had one.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because and this is even before I really started hearing. I think the thing is when you hear about something you've experienced later. Like you thought that was just you. And and especially with all these podcasts coming out and these like movies and stories and I mean
like Babadook.
Yeah, like Babadook. Like years ago I've had these dreams, maybe like once or twice about like the tall guy and like in the nice suit and the hat. And then I'm not the only one. Like that's pretty freaky.
Yeah, I want to know what the deal is with the top hat guy, why he's appearing to multiple people. Like, I've heard it multiple times now.
In different cultures too.
Yeah.
It's just like that same, I do think it's kind of like maybe just, like everybody like there's different cultures have like a vampire, right? And then, so kind of like that same type of being.
It could be. I don't know. I just think it's weird how it always comes up, like, in things that I'm talking about. Even when I'm not even talking about paranormal, it comes up. Like, I went to, I don't know if you watched that episode, but I went to an investigation where we were leading novice people to do investigations, and this random girl just starts talking about how she saw a guy that looked like he had the top hat and stuff like that. And I'm just like, why does this keep popping up? It's weird. I don't know.
But just a general shadow figure, like everybody, I feel like everybody could kind of say they probably saw some kind of shadow figure at the corner of their eye,
Yeah. And I seem to see weird things like that more so when I have sleep paralysis. So I don't know if that has something to do with the brain, like a certain part of your brain not being awake or like being more heightened than the other. I don't know. It's weird. I got to dive more into it, do some more research, but it's kind of interesting how it pops up. Same thing with possession, though. I mean, I haven't had that I remember any possession dreams, but I don't know. It was weird to me that she kept going back into the same dream. I've never had that happen
And
that many times.
The angles of, the way she's describing it.
Right, and feeling that she had to, I don't know, I might be putting words in her mouth, but feeling like she had to pretend to nurture this boy so that she would be safe.
It's the demon child of, Lucifer.
Right.
It's Damien. I that's what I thought of the
for
Omen.
you, Damien.
Yep. I thought of the Omen because they were nurturing him. They were kind of scared of him. But at the same time, they're like, I better be on this kid's good side. I'm all for that.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting. Yeah. But folks, I think that's going to do it for us. We're going to wrap it up here so we can drink some more wine.
Yep.
If you like the content that you're seeing, please like and subscribe and share. Please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
for coming on.
Yeah.
You have to come
pleasure.
on. You have to come on some more shows.
Sure.
I love that dialogue that we had about possession. She's more knowledgeable than I am because I can't even get the name right. I'm saying, what did I say, Defoe?
William Dafoe.
I said William Defoe.
He's the Green Goblin, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. We can just go ahead and edit that one out. But thanks, guys, for watching. I hope you come back for next week. We'll see you on the other side. Yeah!